In this challenging home and auto insurance environment, what are some things that you should avoid doing? Don't do these things. I've got 3 of them. That and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Been doing this for 20 years. Our team of 80 to 90 financial professionals, lots of financial experience. There's never been an insurance environment like we're in right now, a home and auto insurance environment like we're in right now. This is extremely peculiar, and I'll explain why in just a second, but then also some of the things you need to look out for. But what's happening? We've got insurance companies that are pulling out, dropping out of different states. They're not offering insurance in some states, either home insurance or auto insurance. That's been very common, or some counties or areas. You've got insurance companies that have gone bankrupt altogether. Many of them in the southern states, and again, I'll explain why in just a second. We've got insurance companies that are saying, hey, if you're not in a pristine insurance condition, we don't want you. And so it's extremely bizarre, and things have changed drastically, and it's beyond just inflation. Things are different right now in the insurance world than they were just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and than they were for your entire life up until right now. So before we get into a few of the things that you need to make sure you avoid doing, like avoid these missteps, what is happening and why? So we've been in this environment for the past couple of years where everything costs more. Specifically, homes cost a lot more and vehicles cost a lot more. All of this happened almost instantly right after we printed around $5 trillion. Who would have guessed that? Who would have guessed? Actually, we were talking about it well before it even started happening, Cantillon effect. And so these assets that you're trying to insure, your house, your vehicle, the cost of those skyrocketed, but even more than that, or let me say the value of those skyrocketed, but even more than that, the cost to build, the cost to repair, the cost to fix skyrocketed as well. You couldn't find people to do the work, number one. You couldn't find supplies, number two. I mean, a chip shortage for vehicles, really? Are you kidding me? Windshields, you couldn't get those. And so those were in high demand, very, very limited supply. So you had inflationary pressures, but sort of on steroids in the home and auto world. But then combine that with, we saw a rise in claims, a rise in events, either natural disasters or whatever. There were more losses, there were more claims over these past couple of years. So put those two things together. Everything cost more to fix or to replace, and there were more events causing fixes and replacing. That is an awful cocktail. That's a terrible recipe, for an unsustainable recipe for the insurance world. These companies that are trying to and have guaranteed to you that they will replace and cover these valuable items if something happens. So unsustainable. This is not working. However, we've been in this time period. It's not just sort of like, well, this quarter things are a little weird and then it'll get better. No, guys, we've sort of been through this for the past 18 months. I don't see it shifting. Like the rules have changed. The insurance world right now is operating differently than you've ever seen it operate before. And it might take a while before things get back to normal. And therefore, your insurance decisions need to be more calculated. You need to be more aware. You need to be more careful with your insurance decisions right now because the rules have changed. You can't continue to operate like you did maybe 2 years ago, and really for your entire life. It's different right now. Part of that is just being aware of what's going on and why, so hopefully that helped, but also being aware of a couple no-nos, a couple things that you want to avoid doing these things even though it'd be extremely tempting to do so. The first warning that I would tell you, or something I would encourage you, strongly encourage you not to do, and this is coming from someone who's fairly frugal, right? And finances, that's my game. When the cost of your premiums are going up, that temptation is going to be there for you to say, well, I've got to reduce my coverage then. Or maybe I need to drop coverage altogether, or I need to reduce my coverage. No, don't do that. Because let me tie it back to the reason why these prices are going up in the first place. right? So just connecting the logic, because the emotion is costs are going up, everything's going up, costs are going up, therefore I need to cut back. I need to drop back. And many people have taken this bait. The number of people that are driving around without insurance, that percentage has skyrocketed. I'll come back to that because that's another reason this is a no-no for you to drop coverage or reduce coverage. But going back to the root issue, replacing or repairing your house and your vehicle is more expensive than it used to be. Therefore, the insurance is more important. And the claims have increased. Therefore, the insurance is more important, right? And so it's tricky because I don't want to spend any more than I absolutely have to on insurance. And yet at the same time, the reason you have insurance is to protect these valuable assets that financially you've worked hard to earn and to get. And if something happened to them, financially it would be an enormous step back or reset in your financial life. So, as frustrating as it is, the insurance coverage that you have is that much more important, and so is the advice and service that you're getting from your independent insurance agent as well. I'll come back to that, but therefore resist the temptation to start cutting coverage. Well, I guess I don't need that umbrella policy, or we had liability coverage at $500,000. Let's drop it to $300 and see what that changes. Or resist the temptation to make those changes, and certainly resist the temptation to go without insurance altogether. Specifically, maybe for your kids or grandkids, they might be tempted to do that because they're at a higher risk pool anyway. But if you go without insurance and then you try to get it in the future, that means now you're in a high risk pool. You are. A gap in insurance is an indication to insurance companies everywhere to say, I might have some risk. I might be a more risky customer because I wasn't even willing to have insurance for a while, and therefore, you just be aware. And no, you're not going to project that, but that's what insurance companies are going to look at when they see that you went 3 months or a month or 6 months without insurance. They're going to say, what are you hiding? Why weren't you covering yourself? You must have high risk, and therefore we're going to have to charge you more, or we're not going to offer insurance to you, period. So avoid the temptation to reduce your coverages or to cut coverage completely. You've got to continue to work with your CFP and your independent insurance agent to look at, all right, what's my overall financial situation look like? How much risk am I exposed to? And therefore, let's get the proper coverages at the right price with the right deductibles and all that sort of stuff, the proper coverages that's in sync with my overall financial life. And that gets sort of to that second warning that I would share is I'd be careful about going to an insurance company that can only offer their own insurance. Okay, this is, and these are some of the biggest names. They spend a lot of money on advertising. They're my favorite commercials. However, they can only offer their own insurance, instead of working with an independent insurance agent who can help. They're representing you and they're offering multiple insurance companies. And here's why that's so important. I'm hearing from lots of folks that very small issues that have come up, the imperfections, we've got a pool, we've got a certain dog, our roof is a certain age, or whatever, or we've had a stretch of claims here, you're dropped. You're dropped. It comes time for you to renew your insurance and you're just, looking for the bill and you're like, oh geez, how much did it go up? And they drop you. Now, there's a risk of that happening right now in this hard market, in this hard insurance market. However, if your only solution from your agent is, well, hey, sorry, they're serving the insurance company, they're not serving you. And these are great companies, don't get me wrong. However, in a hard market like this, you need a team, an independent team that's serving you. And I would say they should help be able to prevent that from happening. But if you do find out you are not being renewed or whatever, they've got other options at their disposal, and they can help navigate you and serve you in this challenging environment so that you are with the most appropriate insurance company. So second warning I would have is sort of jumping into and working with an insurance company that can only offer just one insurance company, as opposed to working. What you do need is to continue to work with an independent insurance agent that can really represent you, because they offer multiple insurance companies so that they can look around and say, what's the best fit for you? And then lastly, the third thing that I would tell you to avoid doing right now, and it's counterintuitive and It's frustrating to say, it's going to be frustrating to hear. Avoid filing frivolous claims. And I get it. I know what you're going to say. Again, the temptation's there that I have insurance for a reason. I'm paying for insurance. So when I get in the fender bender or my windshield cracks, or when I've got, when the neighborhood kids, hit a baseball through the window or whatever it is, I'm paying for the insurance. I need to file a claim and get that money back. And I wouldn't tell you, no, don't do those things, but I would tell you to be careful or avoid filing frivolous claims. And frivolous, that's a relative term, and you've got to sort that out. It's based on your financial situation, your coverage, your insurance needs. But there again, this is why I would be working with an independent insurance agency, a team where you can say, hey, in theory, if I was in a parking lot and I happen to back into a lamppost, what do you think I should do with that? In theory, now I'm not suggesting that, but again, like those little things where you might say, "Gosh, this is going to be frustrating. It's going to cost $1,000 to fix or $1,500 to fix. I don't want to come up with that money, or gosh, that'd really take a bite out of my savings. I should turn this claim in." If that means that you could get dropped from your insurance company, your prices could skyrocket even more, or you could be at risk of not having insurance when you need it, when there's an enormous claim. Guys, that's where I would be working with the independent insurance agent and getting that advice to say, what should I do in this situation? But be careful about filing frivolous claims. We were driving to a baseball tournament last year, and again, this environment's been going on for a while. And out of the blue, because it's accidents. Accidents happen out of the blue. You don't plan for them. Out of the blue, the semi in front of us rock kicked up and bam, cracked the windshield. And I thought instantly, I held on to my son, his shoulder. He was in the front seat, much smaller than me, and so I'm like, okay, buddy, we're okay, because you don't know what's happening. But then it was, if this thing actually does spider web and it doesn't just stay a small crack, I'm going to have to pay for this out of pocket. I'm not going to turn in an insurance claim for this. But you've got to work with, each company is different. They offer their own packages. Maybe, you've got coverage for some things that wouldn't impact your insurance reputation and other things would. Work with your independent agent, but be aware you may not want to file frivolous claims. Can't wait for this insurance time period to pass. This is a challenging market for everyone involved, and therefore, once again, you need guidance. You need wisdom. You need the right team of professionals serving you to ensure that you avoid these missteps and any others, and that you get the right insurance protection for your unique financial situation. So work with your independent insurance agent, work with your certified financial planner, make sure they're collaborating, working together so that you're served and have the best experience possible. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well. Or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.